7 o'clock, so we make a start. Welcome to the Brent Knoll Parish Council meeting for October. Before we get on to the agenda itself, we do have with us tonight Kevin Bray, who is the chairman of the local community network, which Brent Knoll Parish Council is part of. And Kevin was wanting just to have a quick word. So, Kevin, over to you.
Right, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Yeah, it was really just to introduce the LCN to yourselves. The LCN started last May. I was elected as vice chair last year, and I was elected as chair this year. The LCN covers 13 parishes within the Burnham LCN, which runs from Barrow right the way down to Willhampton. And the idea of the LCN is to try and bring all the parishes together with key issues that they may have, finding a way around some of the devolution that's going on and how that can be funded and paid for, and really focusing on key issues. We have two working groups at the moment. One is for young people and wellbeing, and that's chaired by Doreen Smith, who works out of King Alfred. And she has a weekly session at King Alfred for young people, which is trying to find out what the issues are generally within the whole area. The other one we've set up is a highways working group. The highways working group meets every month, and we actually have Kias and officers from Somerset Highways turn up. What we've managed to get from them so far is a price list which is being worked on, which is supposedly, if you remember, there was going to be a highway stewardship scheme. That's disappearing now. It won't be a highway stewardship scheme. It's going to be a cost exercise conducted by Kias, and a notification will come out to the LCN and then come out to every parish about how much it costs to hire two people, a lorry and equipment for half a day or a day. And if you want extra works to be done within your parish, then Kias will come out and give you a quote for the materials to do it, and you can either buy that in. Some of those issues could be additional road sweeping, they could be gully clearing, they could be fixing holes in the road, because what we've established from highways at the moment is potholes, if they're not larger than 150 millimetres square or 40 millimetres deep, they won't be filled in. That's a pothole in the road. If it's a pothole in the footway, and again it's not larger than 150 mil square or 50 mil deep, it won't be filled in. But if you wanted it to be filled in, you could get Kias to come out and do it as a cost. Things like road gullies. We now know road gullies will only be cleaned out on A roads every 4 years. So if you've got a flooding issue, like we have on the A38 and the A370, you can hire Kias to come in and do that for you at an extra cost. So it's also, we've managed to get out of them, and they will publish that monthly. It's a highways works. Basically, it's a schedule they produce for us, which shows all of the roadworks and all of the road closures which are likely to go on within all of the 13 parishes within the LCN over the next month, which is quite a good idea. What we're trying to do is get them to plan it for the next 6 months, which would be very nice, so we have more warning of it. But the price list, I think, is going to be the key issue we all want, and it will allow parishes who are joining each other to maybe share some of that cost. So rather than hire somebody for a day, you could hire somebody for half a day and then move on to an adjoining parish for the other half a day, so you could split the costs. So that's one way around it. One of the other presentations we had at the meeting last week was from SAC, and there's a lady called Fodo, I keep wanting to say Frodo, it's not, it's Fodo Higginson, and she runs part of the grant system within SALC, and they will award grants to parish councils if they want to do small business works or whatever. Small grant is 1,500 and it doesn't have to be matched. A medium grant is 2,500, which does have to be matched. And a large grant is 35,000, which has to be matched. And one of the things we're looking at is whether we could use the large grant and match it between several parishes to try and buy a community transport vehicle that we then share. If it was 5 parishes put into that, you'd each get a day of the vehicle and you could sort it out. And we've got as far as looking at WAV, the wheelchair aided vehicles, minibuses, which you can pick up second hand for around about £11,000. And they will take 6 people in seats plus a wheelchair that can be wheeled into the back, and you could either use it for community shopping, taking them to shopping centres or taking them to hospital visits. But it's those sort of things that as a bigger group we're trying to stimulate and get going. The next meeting of the LCN is in January, and it's going to be potentially at Barrow Village Hall. The meeting after that is in March, and that hasn't got a venue yet, so we're looking for a venue. And the final meeting is going to be in June of next year, which is the AGM, when I'll get booted out and somebody else will be nominated to come in. And that's going to be at Portland Village Hall. So we're trying to spread them around so it minimises people's travelling times. The next Transport Highways meeting is on the 4th of November, and anybody's welcome to come along to that. One of the key issues that's going to be discussed is the development of gravity, and I've been invited to the gravity presentation, which is next week, I think, because that has key transport issues and what it's going to do to traffic in the area around Dunball. And we're trying as a working group now to look at highways and traffic movement, i.e. every development that goes around here causes traffic problems, and they all seem to end up on the A370 down the A38 to Edithmead. And we are looking at Edithmead and the possibilities of going outside of the council to get highway mapping done to see what the implication is of the developments that have gone and the developments that are planned, and then bypassing Somerset Council and going to Highways England to say this can't go on because you're backing up on the motorway sliprays now. It's a real hazard. So we can't get anything happening from highways because they just go, got no money, can't do anything. So it's issues like that which affect all of us. We also discuss planning. We don't discuss individual planning applications, but where there's a major application that comes into a parish, they come along and say application number 24/2017 for 40 houses, and they advise the adjoining parishes because there will be an impact of that development on the adjoining parishes. That allows the adjoining parishes to go away and have a look at it, and as a consultee put in some comments to the planners about it. So it has that way of trying to bring things together. So you're all welcome as parish councillors, and as a parish you are part of the major committee and the voting committee that votes for various things. Bob, as a county councillor, is also on the executive committee, so he can vote as well. So, but it's somewhere to come along and have a chat and have a listen. They normally last about 2 hours. What I have asked is we have a bespoke officer within Somerset who acts as our clerk. And what she will do is she will now ensure that the minutes of the meeting and the agenda for the next meeting are sent to all parish clerks. So the parish clerk can then advise the parish council what's going on, when it's going to be, and anybody can turn up.
Where is the meeting on the 4th?
A venue to be decided.
Right.
We have a huge problem because Somerset, although the LCNs were set up by Somerset, there's very little funding. So we have to rely on parish councils being very kind and lending us their village hall for these meetings. We can pay for the LCN meetings, but we can't for the various working groups we've got, and that does become a bit of an issue. We haven't yet got down to holding them in pubs or anything like that, so we're trying to keep it. And they're normally 9 to 5 because we have officers from the council there, normally highways. As I say, the last meeting we had 4 highways officers, the head of highways, and we had the head of Kia, who were providing the service there. So it was well worth a meeting. But that will come out, and I'll ensure that those dates and times will get to Owen. That's all I wanted to say, and please feel free to come along to the meetings. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Does anyone else in the public gallery want to say anything before we? No? Okay, thank you very much. So we commence the agenda itself and move on to item 1, which is apologies for absence.
Colin, David, Andy, Melina and John. I will send their apologies.
And I was happy that we accept and acknowledge those apologies. Okay. Decorations of interest. If I'll kick off. So normal decoration for membership of the parish hall as a trustee, my membership of Somerset Council, and the special dispensation that we have for the shop shareholders. Charlie.
So I'm also trustee of the parish hall and the shop.
Sure. Okay. Excellent. Next item is the minutes of the 4th of September, which were circulated to members. Are there any amendments to those that anyone has? If not, can I pose that they're a true and accurate record and I can sign them as such? Thank you, John. Thank you. All those in favour, please show.
Yeah, got an image.
Oh, is it just the back page?
Just back there. Yeah.
Okay. Which brings us to planning matters. Actually, because we've got a declaration of interest on that, haven't we? So as a neighbouring dwelling. So again, just for the newer councillors, if there's a planning application or an item that comes up on our agenda which affects either your house potentially directly or it's maybe a neighbour's application, it's safer because it could be seen that it's having an impact on you, therefore you might have a prejudicial interest in it, hence the declaration of interest, getting out of the room and leaving it to everyone else to get on with it. And that way you're not leaving yourself open to criticism. Right.
So that's the location.
So just for clarity, that's Middle Street. Oh, that's Middle Street, Burton Row, and this is the red line is the application site. So again, for those of you who are newer, the red line basically is an application site. So that's the bit you're looking at. If there's a blue line, that's other land that is in the ownership of the applicant. So you can see that this is part of their site. Move on to the. Is there a?
So we're looking for the block plan.
Yeah. Which is basically just showing Grove Run, which doesn't.
If you can scroll down, it's probably a little bit more
Yeah.
interesting because the solar panels are actually going to be
Excellent.
right behind the other farm.
Correct. So that's the location of the proposal. On to. Are there any other?
We've got proposed north and south
Yeah.
elevations.
So ground-mounted solar panels. And the other direction.
East-west, is that one?
Yeah. So again, you can see it's a metal frame with the solar panels.
So it's just a bank
Attached
of them
to-
on the floor, basically.
Yeah. Any comments or questions that members have got?
Have there been any objections at all?
That's not that I'm aware of. Not I've seen any written objections.
Haven't seen any.
I think my only concern is it's very, very close to the other property, so, and they are a substantial piece of kit, so it's 2 metres, so that's way taller than me. And it's just, I don't know enough about solar panels, ground mounted, just the ones on top of a roof, but is there going to be a battery installation? Is that going to be near that? Because obviously there's fire risks with regards to batteries.
I mean, in terms of the application, it should show whether if there's anything in addition to the
I can't
panels.
see anything that implied that, so I think it said it was a 10 kilowatt generation, so.
A huge amount on there, was there, apart from the
No,
documents?
I guess it's not going to impact on the other property in planning terms because they won't see it, will they? Because if it's low, it's not like it's over anything or.
Yeah, because
so 2 metres is quite high.
2 metres is what, 6'6".
It's got a big bit of kit.
Would that be a thing though if they can, because it's,
Generally, if you're looking at, so obviously if it was a normal development, you'd be looking at does it overshadow or overlook. You would normally be looking at that as that's a second story. If it's a single story, it tends to not have that impact because it's below fence
That
lines
this
or
would be
hedge
the
lines.
equivalent
Or,
of a single story, wouldn't it? So it's not
Yeah.
that.
yes, so it's not going to be, so if we took it like it was a single story thing, that wouldn't impact on the, from a planning point of view.
not in a. It's got to be. I mean, any impact has got to be detrimental on neighbours in terms of, as I say, it's often overshadowing or taking away light. If this is 6 foot high, if you've got boundary treatments between the properties.
Yeah, and presumably they've been notified of this, so
Yes.
they haven't said anything, so they're,
Well, their comments will probably go straight back to
yeah,
Somerset.
Yeah, so we
those
don't
take into
know.
account. So
yeah.
Can we just see the
We-
location of that again?
yeah,
Whether I would see the other property.
but we haven't been contacted directly by anyone to say that they wish to.
We've got a compass, what's north, south, east and west.
Will that be facing north, I think, won't it?
Can I either scroll up or down? There's normally a north out measure.
Yes, right.
So it is that orientated.
So it's east facing, so it's not like they're going to be affected by light or
No.
anything, so. As I said, my only concern was to do with the battery storage,
Yeah.
that number of solar panels.
Would they be blocked from view by the existing houses from the main road?
It's certainly, I mean, it sits behind Elderbury Farm. So if you're on the main road of Burton Row, then yeah, I mean it is behind the building line of what's there at the moment. And obviously that's, I mean, you will get some view from the footpaths up here looking down, but again it will be seen in the setting of the farm behind it. Although, I mean, it says farm, I mean, it's a house, but yeah,
Is it an outbuilding at the back of the...
it would appear to be. Yeah, I kind of wouldn't want to say for certain.
See, I'm thinking that because nobody at the adjoining property has contacted us, presumably they might be all good with it. They probably don't feel strongly enough to have contacted us.
I think generally what you're looking for from the parish council, if we haven't had neighbours particularly contact us, is what impact we think it has on the wider community in terms of viewing it from public vantage
I think
points.
the only way you would see it is if you're up the knoll
Yeah.
and looking down at it, and then how much you would see. So, was it 24 panels? I don't know how. Was it 7 metres? I think it said.
Just about that.
So, is that the size of this room?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So from the knoll, you probably won't see much.
No, probably blending with
And there
everything
is,
else.
I think there's a hedge directly behind that bank, so They haven't like shoved it in the middle of the garden kind of thing, so.
So basically, options that members have is either to support the application, you can object to the application, or if you don't feel there's particular comments you wish to make, we can make no comment. And in effect, what that does is it hands it back to the case officer to say it's up to you to make your mind up.
I don't see any comment on it, to be fair.
No, I propose we make no observations.
No observations.
All right. All those in favour of no observations, please show. That's clearly carried. And just for the record, I don't vote on planning because if it happened to come to the planning committee, then I've got to be able to say I haven't been involved in decisions that have been made at an earlier stage.
Shall I grab Jane?
Sorry?
Shall I grab
Oh,
Jane?
yeah, that'd be good. Actually, we could leave it out for the rest of the evening. Sorry, I've completely forgotten it. So
I've
thank
done
you.
that before, being out there and look.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah, she's had enough.
Give